Good morning. Today is Monday, September 30th, and I want to start a new reading vlog. I have one book or two books actually, that I'm trying to finish in September. I don't typically need to have all of my books finished by the end of the month, but I'm really close on two of them, so it would work out nice if I could. I am also currently reading a library book. Not sure if I'm gonna finish or keep going with it. It's been a little bit hard to keep the storyline straight, if you know what I mean. So this is gonna be just another backlist reading vlog. A couple of these books, actually all these books, I talked about in my October TBR, and I think we're just gonna go with some of those books and kind of vlog my reading of them. The first one I am going to read is Alice Feeney, His and Hers. I've read all of Alice Feeney. This is the one backlist book of hers that I have not read yet, and I want to read it before her new book comes out in, I think, January 2025. I also want to read a nonfiction. I'm going to read One Person, No Vote, How Voter Suppression is Destroying Our Democracy by Carol Anderson. I have not read from her before, but I've heard really good things about this book. So in an election year, definitely want to try and increase my knowledge about all things elections, right? And then my 12 and 24 list. I've got about 4 books left on the list and 3 months left to read them. So I feel like I'm behind, but it's totally doable. And the one I'm going to read right over the next probably 2 weeks. I think it's going to be a 2-week vlog. I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. Yeah, and I'll talk to you about them as we go along. I'm working from home tomorrow. I'm going to go into the office. So I'll show you a little bit of downtown and yeah, kind of what we get up to. There's not much on the schedule for the next 2 weeks. This week I would like to get some of my fall decorate. I don't do a lot of seasonal decorating. I just don't have the energy for it. So I have a few things that my mom left me, and I would like to get those out. So I'll show you some of our decorations as well. But yeah, back to work. It helps to hit the record button when you're trying to do a clip. It is Wednesday, October 2nd. I'm just sitting down to do some work. Got my coffee, some breakfast, and I wanted to update you. I am reading Alice Feeney's His and Hers. I'm not very far into it. There's a woman named Anna who is a kind of backup news what do they call it? Anchor. And then there's an older police detective. I think he said he's in his 40s. And they find a body. In typical Alice Feeney fashion, she gives you kind of snippets into the happenings of the killer, the mind of the victim, just different vantage points, perspectives. I'm enjoying it so far. I think one of the things I have to remind myself is I've heard a lot of people say that His and Hers is their favorite Alice Feeney. But I've also read her more recent, everything but this one, which was kind of, I think this was her third novel, and her more recent novels have been more favorites of mine. I think my all-time favorite was either Daisy Darker or Rock, Paper, Scissors. Can't decide. So this, to me, feels more like her first two books that I didn't love as much. But open mind, I know there's going to be some good twists and turns. It is Friday, October 4th, and I am just doing some work. I need to go run some errands, and wanted to give you an update on my reading. My printer's printing a label for Pango Order off right now. You can see the beagle is back in bed. Any other pet owners, you get up, you feed them, then you start working and they go back to sleep. I mean, really. So I started I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith. This is one of my 12 and 24 books. I'm enjoying it so far. It's just a sweet, slow family story so far. I don't know if something else is going to happen, but there's Cassandra's writing this, and she has a sister, Rose, an older sister, a younger brother, and a stepmother, her dad, and then like the child of their former housekeeper lives with them, and they live in the one area of a ramshackled castle that is livable. She just goes through the day-to-day and some of the backstory of how they ended up there. So I'm liking that so far. I'm also listening to the audiobook of His and Hers by Alice Feeney. This is about Anna, who is a TV reporter and a detective, and somebody finds a body in the park, and they're kind of investigating it, and of course there's a history between the reporter and the detective. I also started One Person No Vote by Carol Anderson. The audiobook, it seems like Carol Anderson's books are only on Audible, which is kind of a bummer because I refuse to pay for Audible if I can't find it on what's available to me through my library. I did cancel my subscription to Everand just for a little bit because there's so many that are available through my library that I would like to listen to, that there's not really a point in having the subscription right now as well. But not this one. This one wouldn't even be on Everand. It's an Audible exclusive. This is a nonfiction, and so far she's talking about the history of voting in the U.S. and the things that politicians would do to make sure that Black people didn't vote, minorities didn't vote, and I'm only about a little over 14 pages in. I thought it was a really thick book, but when I looked at it again, so I wanted to make sure I could get through it in this vlog. It's actually 195 pages, and all of that, this part, is notes, which I really appreciate because then the author doesn't bog down the actual text with context that some people may know off the top of their head and others may not know. So the note is there if you need it, if you're not sure what they're talking about, or you want to know more about what one thing that they're talking about is. Yeah, so this shouldn't take me long either. I am slow with words lately. I'm still kind of tweaking the new medicine, if I'm going to use it or not. But I take it at night, so it makes me very sleepy. Tomorrow is the Decatur Book Festival, which is very close by to me, and I'd like to go to that. There's one panel by Joyce Carol Oates, which interestingly enough, I have one of her books on my 12 and 24 that I need to read, and I'm thinking about finding the audiobook for We Were the Mulvaneys. But that panel, of course, is sold out because I did not look at the schedule until today. I am going to there's a talk from Natasha Trethway, who is a poet, but she wrote a memoir called Memorial Drive, which I've recommended here, about her mother's murder. And she is coming out with a new book. I think it came out this year. The name of it just escaped me. I'll put a picture here. About kind of where she grew up and how it created the writer in her that she is. And that's kind of what her talk is going to be about at the book festival. So that's what I'm going to try and do tomorrow. Anyone with a chronic illness knows you never know if you're going to have the energy. This week has been a bad pain week. Usually I can take meds, like just over-the-counter ibuprofen, and it helps a good bit to where I can still do stuff. This week did not help. So we're going to see. We're going to see if I can do that tomorrow. Otherwise, I am just going to be hanging out the house. I'm going to be filming some videos. I'm trying to get ahead. I will have I think it's going to be a big unhaul. Just as I'm going through books, I'm being realistic with myself. Am I actually going to read that? And of course, if I don't, I can always just go to the library, which is where we're going to go this morning. I need to go to the library. I have some overdue books. I need to go pick up a grocery order and get cat food. been reading One Person, No Vote by Carol Anderson for a little bit tonight. It's Friday night. And what to say about this? It just infuriates me the way that white politicians, white people, have tried to keep Black people and other minorities from casting ballots, even though it is their right to do in this country. This is just my thought for tonight. I've only read the first chapter because it's dense and there's a lot that I want to take in. There are camps that will say, oh, well, that's back in the day. It doesn't apply now. And that is so not true. So not true. There are things that the current Supreme Court has done to allow states to do things. It's happening in my own state. That make it kind of, I would say, basically fixing local elections to then have the rippling effect to impact state and federal elections. If you don't think there is voter suppression, I would challenge you to read this book. And Dr. Anderson puts all the notes in the back of where you can find the facts that she writes about. So if you want to investigate for yourself, there is basically a good map. It's a good map of where to go, what cases to look at. I know for me, I do a lot of research on the Americans with Disabilities Act. And you basically, when you look up one law or one court case, you end up down a rabbit hole of other court cases. So these notes that Dr. Anderson gives us in this book could allow you to go down a rabbit hole as well. But like I said, this is only the first chapter, and I'm just very, very annoyed. And no words I can say on video. So I'm gonna put the political reading aside and probably pick up I Capture the Castle. And yeah, read a little bit of this and then call it a night. I'm trying to get better about my sleep, go to bed earlier. So we'll see how that goes. And hopefully the next time you see me, I will be at the book festival. Good morning. So it's Saturday morning, October 5th, and I'm about to head to the book festival, which I'm very excited about. I haven't been to the book festival in years. Yeah, I have been reading I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith, and I'm still enjoying it a lot. It's just a very quaint little book. An great aunt just passed away and left the two oldest girls her clothes. and some fur coats. And there's been some interesting happenings with the fur coats. I do appreciate that even in the 40s, the author is talking about how the girls who inherited the coats don't like them because of animal rights issues. They don't want to wear animals, which yay for that. But they're poor, and so they take them hoping to sell them. There is an in and out kind of, something's happening with the owners of the house that they live in, the American sons of the person that gave them this 40-year lease of the castle. And I don't know how I feel about that, because in some scenes the brothers are jerks, and in other scenes they're really sweet. So I'm bringing a book to the book festival. Yes, I am, just in case I get bored. I mean, it's a habit. Do y'all do this? Bookish people will get it, that if you go somewhere, you bring a book. I mean, that's just... I've gotten a little bit better with if I forget to bring a book, which is rare, but if I forget to bring a book, I will read on my phone, which right now the eyesight's okay that I can do that. But yeah, like I've said before, I don't have a Kobo or Kindle or any of those e-readers. I haven't decided if I'm going to get one or not. But that's a story for another day. Let's go to the book festival. So the good news is I went to the book festival. The bad news is I did not stay for Natasha Trethway's talk. There was a lot of walking, and it was really hot, and I wasn't feeling that great to begin with. It's the up and down with chronic illness that you have to decide what you want to use your energy for. So anyway, I did still have a good time. The library, one of the libraries that I am a patron of, they were giving away some free books. So I got this for my nephew. This is Reading Comprehension, just a workbook for 3rd grade, which will be the grade he's in next year. Let's see, what else did I get? I got, it's my little haul from the book festival. It's the beagle who smells my lunch. I did get a Decatur Book Festival t-shirt, and this is an adult medium. I hope it doesn't swallow me. Let's see, what else? Oh, I did get another t-shirt. They had t-shirts from my local indie bookstore that sponsored some of the events. They had some of their t-shirts there that were on sale. So I got a reading or rainbow reader shirt, which I have eyed in their store before. And then I did win this from my other library. It's a fan that folds up. I think this is the best thing ever. When you live in the South, a fan is always good. And then I did get a few books. These were 2 of the authors that were there. The kind of bummer about it was that because I have something called dysautonomia, that I run the risk of fainting in public, which is never a good thing. I don't feel as worried about it when I'm with someone else. And I did make some, I talked to some people there. But being outside in the heat, waiting in line for a while without a way to sit down, that was not going to be good for me. So I did not get these signed, but that's okay. That's okay. I got Natasha Trethway's new book, The House of Being. This is about her writing practice and the kind of the places she's been in her life and how those places have influenced her writing. And I hadn't actually heard about this. As I've mentioned, I try not to look at anticipated reads too much because I don't want to pre-order books. It's never good for me to pre-order books because I forget that I pre-ordered books. But I got this, my local indie bookstore had a table there. And looking forward to reading that. And then Lynn Cullen was also there, and I've been interested in her work. I haven't read any of it. So I went ahead and got The Woman with the Cure. This book is about the woman who created the polio vaccine. Polio directly impacted my family. I had an uncle who had polio and then post-polio when he was older. And, anything chronic illness related interests me. Just different things that, illness happens and long-term disability happens. And the more we look into and also write their stories, I feel like that's helpful for everyone to know. It was a good day. It was getting out. It was enjoying the sunshine. It was talking to bookish people. Had a long conversation with someone from my library. It was a nice day. It was a very nice day. So now we're gonna read. Hello, Hopper. Anytime I sit down, he likes to be in my lap, which I'm okay with. Today is Monday, October 7th, and I'm currently waiting for the plumber because my dishwasher backed up. And I wasn't going to update the vlog right now because my beagle is having a rough time and may need to say goodbye soon. And that's not great news, obviously. I knew it was coming because he has aggressive cancer, but with my vlogging, I didn't want to bring that into it necessarily. But this is real life. And one thing that I love watching vlogs and I love seeing real life. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I did not update yesterday. I didn't read much yesterday because Remy had a really bad day with pain. And of course, just me being me, I was watching him a lot. I was also cleaning up the mess from my dishwasher. Anyway, I'm currently reading I Captured the Castle still. I'm still reading it. I'm almost done with it. It really feels like a a Jane Austen novel in the 40s, where they had cars and phone. I don't remember if they had telephones or not. They didn't. The family didn't. The Mortmain family didn't. They're very... they don't have a lot of money. The father is an author who wrote a beloved book and then hasn't written anything since. And in this book, Cassandra, who is the main character, is a fan of Jane Austen. So I don't know. I need to do a little research and see, was Jane Austen an influence of Dodie Smith's? I also didn't realize that it's the same Dodie Smith who wrote 101 Dalmatians, which I also have. And I have not read it, but it was the Disney movie I loved as a kid. And you know when you say you love something and then people get you lots of things related to it? I did have a lot of not Dalmatian puppies, no. Dalmatian things like figurines, and I loved snow globes, and a lot of the Disney stuff. So I'll have to read that. I know I have the book somewhere. And yeah, so it was interesting to make that connection with this Dodie Smith. They're the same people. So yeah, I am enjoying this book. It's sort of heartwarming. We've just had an engagement and kind of getting ready for the wedding and getting the trousseau, all the wedding clothes. And for the sisters who haven't had a lot of money, and as they've been growing up, you know, just some of the prices that the soon-to-be in-laws are paying for the bride's wedding clothes. Just, I don't know. It's a sweet little story. There's some questions about the father and the stepmother, how their relationship is going. So one thing I am appreciating in this is that the stepmother is a very positive person in the lives of the children, and the mother has passed away, and so she really does treat these children as her own. And I just appreciate that, because there are so many times the step-parent is shown in a negative light. And while I don't have step-parents, my parents were married. So I feel like in so many novels, step-parents are shown in a negative light, but I've seen a lot, haven't experienced it myself. My parents were married forever, that step-parents can be positive influences, and they're not all evil like some of the books we read. So I really am enjoying those relationships as well, especially the stepmother with the two daughters who are old enough to get married. So I forget how old they are. That is I Captured the Castle. I am very tired. Remy was up at 3 o'clock just needing to go out. So I'm working. My boss is amazing, and I'm working from home this week. I was going to go in tomorrow, but probably will stay at the house Yeah, but I'm gonna keep reading these books. I'm enjoying all of them. And you know, I'll just keep you posted on Remy. We're gonna go day by day. So I don't know where I left the vlog off. I'm gonna try and piece things together. On Thursday of this week, I said goodbye to my beagle and didn't really feel like filming anything, and wanted to honestly, like, just brain power, words coming, things like that were not happening. Animals have always been a very important part of my life, and Remy has been there for me. They bring a lot of comfort to me, and he's been there for me. There's no judgment with animals, and they give an amount of emotional support that humans just can't. They just can't. They're not. You've already watched the vlog at this point. What there is of it, I did put together. But I want to make sure that I can, that I give you a good, as best as I can, summary of the books that I read. So I read Alice Feeney's His and Hers. This is zeroing out my Alice Feeney reading. I've read everything that she's written, and she's coming out with a new book in 2025, and I'm really hoping that I can go to the author's event, one of the author's events that she has. She is not coming to Atlanta, but I might find a way. His and Hers is about a news reporter who goes back to the town she grew up in to report on a body found in a park. The detective who investigates the body found in the park. And so those two perspectives happen, and there's also the perspective of the killer, which on the audiobook is interesting. I really liked this for what it was, but I do think, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in the vlog, that Alice Feeney, her first, this was her third book, I think, and the other two books early in her career, they kind of all, they feel similar. Let me know in the comments if you've read, it's Sometimes I Lie and I Know Who You Are. They kind of feel very similar. And while I enjoy it, it's not as good as her more recent stuff, like Daisy Darker and Rock, Paper, Scissors. Her most recent read wasn't a favorite of mine either. You know, Rock, Paper, Scissors and Daisy Darker were just off the charts good for me. But yeah, so there's connections, there's plot twists, of course, and there's more bodies, and everybody's connected in some way to the players in this drama. And the killer isn't who you think it is, but you might kind of sort of start to have a hint of who you think it is by the end or near the end. Anyway, I kind of guessed the killer but it was sort of one of those, how is she going to make this work? Which, you know, is always interesting to see. So I think I rated this 3.5 stars. I also finished I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith. This is about two sisters who live with their dad, their stepmom, their younger brother, and their deceased maid's son. In the ruins of a castle, and they don't have a lot of money. The dad is a famous author who wrote one book that was a long time ago and has since not written anything else. So the royalties from that book are not really, they're pretty much non-existent. The stepmom is, I think, a great depiction of a stepmother. She really cares about the kids. The mother of the children passed away, and the stepmom, you know, treats the kids like her own and makes sure that everyone's taken care of. She cooks for everyone, but can't go to London to do more modeling because she's taking care of the family. So they really don't have a lot of income coming in at all. And they have this 40-year lease on the castle, and the owner of the castle dies off the page, and the heirs of the castle end up coming to stay at the owner of the castle's mansion nearby. This kind of takes, in the beginning, I'm having a hard time summarizing all of this. In the beginning, the novel is very sweet and simple and enjoying the daily life and the simple things. And then this family comes and things start kind of happening for the sisters. And I think they're 18 and 16 maybe, start developing romantic interests and things like that. I loved the first 2/3 of this novel and did not like the last third of the novel. The sisters in the relationship were, I think, very well written. They had very distinct personalities, and the main character is Cassandra, who is the 16-year-old when this starts, I think. She's kind of left out of a lot of things because she's the younger sister, and her older sister is, you know, shares those things with her. Then things kind of happen where, you know, they start to drift apart, and didn't really love that part. I know it's, you know, it happens that sisters drift apart, but where parts of it went, I didn't really enjoy. I do like the writing style, so I will definitely read Dodie Smith again. I ended up giving this a 3-star. The first 2/3 was probably a 4-star, and the last 1/3 of it was probably a 1 to 2-star for me. Just didn't like where the story went. So that's I Captured the Castle. That was another of my 12 and 24 that I'm done with. And the other book I was reading was One Person, No Vote by Carol Anderson, How Voter Suppression is Destroying Our Democracy. Very timely issue, very important issue. I've read a chapter of it, and I really like it, and I've already tabbed a bunch. It's very important information. I just didn't have the brain space to focus on it. But I do plan to finish it this month. So check back for my end of month wrap up. I don't think I'll have it by mid-month wrap up because I'm going to do that very soon. But yeah, I'll definitely have this done by the end of the month. So that's what I read for this vlog. It ended up kind of being a mess of a week of my life. And out of everything that has happened, I have been overwhelmed and amazed and thankful for this community, people who have reached out to me, and condolences, sending love, prayers, all those things. I'm very thankful for you. And yeah, this community is so amazing. So thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing me to share my grief with you and my beagle with you. There will continue to be dog and cat content because I've got my Mabel girl and my Hopper cat, and yeah, Remy was the best, and he'll always be remembered. So I hope you all are doing well, and I will see you soon. Bye.